Welcome to the Swim Swam podcast. I'm today's host, Coleman Hodges, and joining us today, she's an Olympic champion, she's a world champion, she's an NCAA champion, and most recently, she's a professional swimmer. Today, we are talking to Lydia Jacoby. Lydia, thanks so much for being here. How's it going?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
This episode of the Swim Swam podcast is sponsored by Commit Swimming, Swim Swam's exclusive team management software partner. Since 2015, Commit has been providing coaches with swimming's leading workout management software. And now, Commit has team management software too. Commit wants to help you make the switch from Team Unify to a simpler, more powerful solution. Their onboarding and customer service team will walk you through every step of the way. Check them out at commitswimming.com to book your demo today. That's COMMIT swimming.com. Absolutely. I'm excited to hear about this new phase of your swimming career, and honestly, selfishly, just to catch up and see how you've been the last few months. But let's start with the big news you announced on your Instagram just the other day that you're foregoing the remainder of your NCAA eligibility and going professional. Just tell me about that decision, what went into it, and ultimately made that the right thing for you at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something like I'm still figuring out myself, like day by day, but it's a decision that I actually talked to my coaches about prior to Olympic trials. So it's been on the radar for a long time. We've been having conversations about it, and my whole like close support system has been very supportive. And yeah, I'm very grateful for Texas. I've had an amazing 2 years there. I've really loved it. It's taught me so much. But yeah, I'm just excited for this next phase. I've always loved like the international side of swimming. So just focusing on that and seeing where it takes me.
So will you still be taking classes at Texas? I guess, are you staying in Austin, first of all?
Yes, for now I'm staying in Austin. It's definitely, I mean, today I'll share as much as I can with you guys, but like I'm still figuring everything out to myself. So yeah, I mean, I still have my place here. I'm taking classes. I have 2 more years of school, so I'm in the advertising program now. So I'm looking to finish my degree, maybe get an internship. I'm kind of focusing like fashion advertising, so I'd like to get a little bit more into that and kind of focus on that like the next 2 years and keep my swimming going, stay in shape, keep doing the things that I love and get back and ready for competition.
Yeah. So in terms of training, obviously there's been some coaching changes at UT, and I just spoke with Carol at the Ask a World Clinic last week, and she mentioned that there's one combined practice a week with the men and women. Do you see yourself still training with Carol? Do you think you'll do workouts with Bob or on the men's side as well? I don't know how the pro groups work at this point, but who do you see being as your coach moving forward primarily?
Yeah, I mean, that's something I've honestly not really looked into yet. I've just been taking a little step back from swimming since trials and kind of focusing on myself. So that's kind of my project for this fall, is to start like reaching out, having some discussions with different coaches. But yeah, Carol and I are still on really great terms, and she's offered to help me kind of find the best training situation for me. I think as for Texas, I think the coaching staff and the staff there is still kind of figuring out how like the pro groups and like training together is all going to work out, just since that's such a new thing. So I'll definitely be considering all my options moving forward and just doing what's best for me.
Yeah. And then what, in terms of, I guess, the balancing the student athlete life, how do you foresee moving forward being different, and what, kind of ultimately made you make the decision to forego competing for Texas for another 2 years?
Yeah. Like I said, I've really enjoyed my time. I'm really glad that I made the decision to like honor that commitment, even post Olympics and stuff, because it truly has been great. I love the city, I love the teammates, but I just felt like for me, I've always been someone who really needs to balance like swimming and life, and it's just been hard swimming collegiately with the seasons and everything because you start training in mid-August to kind of get in shape, start doing the preseason college meets, and then January through March is like college season. You're really in it, but then you can't really take a break after NCs because you need to start training for trials, and then you have worlds, and then you only have 1 week, and then you need to start training for college season. So I have had a lot of fun with that, and I'm glad I got to experience it. But I just feel like I kind of need more of a balance. So I'm hoping that focusing on those pro meets, maybe like World Cup, all those type of things, will kind of give me the balance that I need to be able to take a step back at least a few weeks a year, spend some more time at home. And yeah.
I think that the student athlete role, especially for swimmers, has become very normalized. But when you are someone who has a lot of priorities outside of swimming, and certainly for you specifically, have a lot of professional obligations through managing your career, it makes sense. And this option, like you said, you got to try NCAA swimming and you got to experience it. And now, again, coming off of an Olympic cycle and into a brand new one, it seems logical. So congratulations on that decision.
Thanks. Yeah, it's definitely like kind of like a one that's been in the process for a long time. So I'm excited to like be at this point and have everyone like supporting me and everything.
Is this a decision that, I know you said you talked about it before trials? Was this decision for you pretty much made before trials, or did how this summer unfolded for you have an impact on that decision as well?
Yeah, no, it was made completely before trials. We'd already settled on it. We just decided it would be better to announce it and everything just until post Olympics, like whether I was there, just be able to have me focus on that and not have the narrative be that I was leaving Texas, or like the other way around, not going to the games. I just wanted to kind of let things roll and see how my summer went, and then kind of flip a new page in this fall. So
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of how your summer did unfold, how are you feeling about it now? I mean, do you feel like you have processed trials as well as, I mean, I feel like you got a lot of opportunities this summer. You traveled a lot this summer. It seems like there was a lot of positivity in the rest of your summer as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely not easy, and there were, like, moments or days where it was really hard, but I feel like overall, I am very proud of myself and also very grateful for my support system for how, I was able to, like, really focus on other things. I was able to go home to Alaska for 2 weeks. I went to Europe for, like, 3 weeks. I just attended New York Fashion Week. So I've just been focusing on, like, other outlets that bring me a lot of joy, and, just working on kind of focusing on other things, and realizing that like although it may feel like it in moments, that like not making that one team isn't like a make or break for my whole life. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, and obviously I can't relate on the elite athlete side, but not having something consume your whole life or your whole identity, I think is really important, especially for athletes. I feel like culturally our sport has gotten a lot better at that, and I hope we continue to progress, especially as our country largely puts a bigger emphasis on mental health. So then, in terms of just getting to, as you said, get to travel, tell me about it. What'd you do at home?
Yeah, I don't know. Home was pretty like normal for me. We went out on the boat a couple times. I got to see like all my close friends, do some like little camping trips, see my dog, just like sleep in my own bed, see my parents. So it was kind of a nice, like, relaxing break to just feel normal, you know?
Yeah. And then in terms of Europe,
Mhm.
what was it like there? I mean, obviously the Olympics were in Paris. Where
Mhm.
did you go in Europe, and what did you end up doing with your time there?
Yeah, I considered going over to Paris. One of my sponsors was thinking about taking me over there, so I thought about it, just like go and support my teammates and stuff. But at the end of the day, I thought it would be better for me to skip it this year. So I went to Frankfurt and visited Anna, who's my roommate and teammate. And then I went to Spain. I went to Cornwall, so I was all over the place. It was really fun.
Wow. I every time I go to Europe, the food is just so intoxicating. It's so different from the food in America, and
It
every
is.
time I come back, I like have this withdrawal period where I'm like, I need a European croissant, and nothing like that in America
Yeah.
exists. Did you have a meal that stood out to you, or a dish that you would get regularly in Europe?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I really love the food in Spain. Like, I don't know, I just like the culture of, like, sharing dishes there, so you just, like, order a bunch of things for the table and try everything, so I was just having a great time trying all the food and, um, yeah, I don't know. I brought a couple bottles of olive oil back for, like, friends and family, and yeah, it's delicious.
Spanish olive oil. That's a great gift.
It is.
Uh,
Can't
seriously. Um, and then as you mentioned, you were just in New York for Fashion Week. I'm most
Mhm.
excited to hear about that. Can you tell me about the circumstances that you ended up being able to get to that? I feel like this is maybe one of those perks of it being a professional athlete that you couldn't necessarily do as a student athlete. But yeah, what led to you coming to this, and then how was the experience?
It was so amazing. I just got back a day ago, so I'm absolutely exhausted. I feel like I was in, like, fight or flight the whole time I was there, just trying to pack in as much as I possibly could. Um, but it was so fun. I've, like, literally wanted to go to New York Fashion Week for as long as I can remember, so I just figured, like, I'm taking a little break from swimming. My summer's free. I might as well do it this year. So I kind of went just without a plan. I booked my tickets, stayed with a friend, went to as many shows as I could, went to pop up shows, after parties, like all the things. It was so fun. Met a lot of really cool people, and it was just a really fun glimpse into like an industry that I might want to work in, and just kind of getting a feel for different jobs and meeting people there. So it was really fun.
In Do you get recognized when you go to things like this? Does anyone be like, "You're an Olympic gold medalist"?
Sometimes it's funny. There's actually a whole group of us there. I didn't see a lot of people because there's like so many things happening at once. But like I know Gabby Thomas was there. I met Suni Lee at the Love Shack Fancy show. Jordan Childs was there. Yeah, there's a whole group, so it was kind of fun. I think it's fun that athletics is really like moving into fashion a lot, and I'm excited to hopefully be a part of that. But yeah, it was a cool opportunity to meet a lot of people.
That is cool, and I
Mhm.
love when you get to have overlaps like that of athletics and then normal life, right?
Totally.
Whatever passions might be. So athletics and fashion, I feel like go hand in hand, or at least they should more than they do. Did
Yeah, I think swimming really embrace a little more like in the walkouts or going to school,
I
something.
agree, right? Like, I feel like especially in the NBA and the WNBA, like you get to see the outfits like
Mhm.
pre-game and post-game, and I wish we had more of that in swimming.
So do I.
Yeah, so maybe we'll get there. But did you have a favorite event that you got to go to, or one that really stood out to you, during
Favorite
Fashion
event,
Week?
oh my gosh. I literally went to so many, it was crazy. Love Shack Fancy was really fun. It's a very, like, feminine brand, which was cool, and, they dressed me for the show. So I wore the same dress that Lana Del Rey wore to a wedding the week before, which was, like, my favorite dress I've ever worn. So that
Uh,
was a highlight. Which other shows did I love? Chuck Collins' show was amazing. Laquan Smith. It was really cool too, just to see like the whole process of like some shows like Cynthia Rowley focused more on like the presentation of the show rather than like the actual outfits in the collection, where some were more focused on like the actual clothes. So it's really cool just to see like so many different types of shows and how differently you can present your collections.
I love it. That sounds like such a unique experience, and again for you, such a learning opportunity, or just opportunity to gain some insight into an industry that you may one day be in.
Yeah, totally.
So then, in terms of now, you're back in Austin. You're
I am.
finally kind of not on the move.
Yes.
What do you see for yourself moving forward in terms of returning to the pool or returning to competition? I know you're
Mhm.
that's still in the works, but what have you got so far?
Yeah, definitely still in the works. In the immediate future, moving back into my closet and out of a suitcase is is my primary focus. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to be competing this fall. I'm just kind of taking a break, getting back in the gym, back in the pool. I'm going to be looking into some different training options, maybe reaching out to some different coaches or different facilities to kind of see what options are best for me. And then hopefully getting back into some competition in the spring. And yeah, so it's all very much a work in progress, but I'm just looking forward to seeing how everything unfolds.
Yeah. I mean, even if you've reflected on it or just kind of sat with it, I know, like, you in 2021, you made an Olympic team, you won an Olympic gold medal. The next year, you
Mhm.
go to a world trials, you get third place, and you don't miss that team. Or sorry, you miss that team. You make the world's team next year. You miss the team this year. I mean, do you feel like you've had experience with this and you're handling it maybe better than you did in 2022?
Definitely. I think I'm honestly really grateful that I missed that team right after the Olympics in a weird way, just because I feel like obviously it's a lot smaller scale missing a world's team than missing an Olympic team. But just kind of like, the feeling's the same, kind of like feeling of missing out. So I'm glad that I've kind of experienced those up and downs through the last few years so that this didn't come as just a total shock. But yeah, I also feel like the last couple of years I've been very like forward and sharing like my mental health experiences and all of that. But I've also just been reflecting a lot, and I feel like the way that I've painted myself, like yes, I have struggled with things. I feel like I've been kind of giving myself like a victim mentality, which like is not at all the case. I've kind of just been focused on like I won gold in Tokyo, and then like here's kind of how I've been doing afterward, like up and down. But I am like so proud of my journey, and especially like having that gold be so unexpected, and then coming back and like winning bronze in at Worlds or winning an NCAA title. I think all those things can feel very small to me, just having done what I did at 17. So it's just been a big like reflection this summer, looking back and like seeing that although like it's not an Olympic gold medal, there have been so many like successes during my journey in the last 3 years. So.
No kidding. I mean, that's really great to hear, and not only for me as someone who's spoken with you on many occasions over the last few years,
Yeah.
but hopefully for younger athletes too, who I can't imagine what it was like winning Olympic gold at 17. I mean, achieving what is by many considered the pinnacle of swimming as a 17-year-old. Uh,
Yeah, I think it's definitely like a blessing and a curse. I wouldn't trade it for the world, but it's also like it is hard to like it's hard to celebrate little victories now because I've seen such a big victory before. So it's all about like putting things back in perspective, you know?
Absolutely. And I think, as you mentioned and alluded to, that takes practice, right? That doesn't just
Definitely.
come automatically.
Yeah. It's been
Because
2 years in the making.
Right. But in terms of the flip side of the coin, in terms of maybe the benefits that have come from that, I feel like half the time when I open Instagram, I see you doing some kind of ad or some kind of like sponsorship post, which is so cool because that's kind of rare in swimming. But it seems like you have aligned yourself with a number of brands, all of which, or many of which, maybe aren't totally automatic in swimming, or we don't see a lot of in swimming. So from that standpoint, how do you feel like you've been managing your professional career, especially this summer? Even though you didn't make the Olympic team, I feel like so many people maybe didn't even realize that because you were posting things that you were posting Olympic content and you were helping that movement forward anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like being part of that movement so young, or like being part of the Olympics, I feel like it's just like it's always going to be a part of me, and it's just like an honor to be able to support the team, no matter if that's like on the ground in the pool with them or back at home supporting stateside. So I mean, that's always something that I want to do, and you know, it's important to me. But yeah, I mean, I have had so many amazing opportunities, and I've also been fortunate enough to be able to create those opportunities for myself. I mean, yeah, I have an incredible list of sponsors, and I try to like partner not just with like anyone who's interested in a partnership, but I feel like it's very important to like partner with brands that are very authentic to like who I am as an athlete or who I am as a person. So like Gillette Venus I love the concept of the power smooth. I feel like that goes with like swimming or being like feminine. I also love that their brand's super like female focused and very like empowering women is what they're all about. And it's fun like working with them. Like the entire team is like completely female, which is so fun. And that's something that you like don't get from very many brands. And then obviously Arena is an absolutely amazing partner. I've loved doing like they've been incredible supporting my swimming, and then like the crossovers with fashion and stuff, getting to design my own line. And then Omega, like just fashion luxury kind of also like time with swimming super important. So I feel like all of my partners have really aligned really well with who I am inside and outside of the pool, and also have just been so supportive through this whole process. I mean, obviously they all took me on as like Lydia the Olympian. So to have me miss the Olympic team, I'm sure came as a shock to them, as well as to me. But they've all just been like so supportive through the whole thing, and totally just kind of focusing on me as a person through their messaging. And yeah, it's been really cool.
What more could you ask for in partners, right? than
Literally. Yeah, that's
than
what
to
it's all about.
support. Yeah, absolutely. That's really great to hear. And I again, young athletes, take note if you're looking into a professional career, especially now with the opportunities available through NIL. It's like partner with the right people and good people who support you in and outside of your sport.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, it's taken a long time, like learning about all this because it's like such a new world for everyone with NIL and everything. But like swimming's not a huge money sport. I mean, like compared to other sports out there. So like sometimes you'll get offered a deal and it's like, oh, like great, like money, and then you think about the brand and you're like, well, it might be a cool brand, but does it align with like who I am or who I am as an athlete or a person? And just remembering that there will always be like more opportunities for you, and you don't have to just like take everyone that falls in your lap.
Listen up, kids. Professional advice here. Well, it's so great to hear, Lydia, and I'm glad that your athletic and professional careers are moving forward in a positive direction.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and dissect this decision with us,
Mhm.
dissect your summer with us. I appreciate getting to catch up with you like this. And anything we missed, or any parting thoughts before we go?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, it was great to catch up, and thanks for covering this for me. Yeah, when I made that decision, I was like, I want Coleman to be the one to help me tell people about it. So.
Well, thank you, Lydia. I
Mhm.
appreciate that, and I don't take that for granted. So again, great having you on.
Yeah, it was great talking to you.
You've been listening to the Swim Swam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take Swim Swam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.